The only thing is it just came out today that Candy Burris from, Real Housewives of Atlanta, who just got the Lifetime Achievement Award at BravoCon, announced that she was divorcing her husband, Todd, of 11 years.
Oh, that's sad.
Sad. It is sad. She said that, it was a hard decision to make, and they have 2 children together. They're gonna focus on co-parenting and, to give them their privacy. My thoughts go out to her and her family. Candy is an awesome housewife. Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join 3 Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers! Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Lori.
We are talking about Special Forces Season 4, Episode 9, Season Finale. I'm sad that it's over.
Mhm.
I'm in love with the show. I can't wait for next season. I can't wait to see who they get for next season. We start out 12 hours ago, 6 recruits split into 2 teams. And now we are at 5 recruits remain for the most brutal part, the interrogation. So it's
Yes.
day 9, 0159 hours, which is almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And there's 5 recruits remaining. They have been awake for almost 24 hours.
Brutal. It's so interesting how the DS said, when they were talking about that this is the interrogation phase, and he said it's the last place you want to be apart from death.
Yes, yes. So they're standing outside with the hoods over their head, the goggles on, their hands are bound. It's going to be 12 hours of absolute mental and physical hell. So can only imagine. I mean, I really feel like they didn't show us a lot, right?
No, they really didn't.
I mean, I think that there was a lot that went on that we didn't see.
Probably. And it's, they said the DSs are saying that the recruits must not reveal that they are military. And I'm thinking to myself, those camouflage pants might be giving it away. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yep. Yep. So that was really the ultimate goal here, is to not admit that they were military.
Mhm.
And they bring in this special person who's going to be, they call him the umpire, and he's going to be the leader of the new interrogators that they bring in, these special interrogators. And he's going to be the one who decides whether or not they pass or they fail. So the first one we see is Brianna, and he tells her to take her boots off and her socks off and her trousers and her top. And, you know, if I ask you a question, you answer me. Like, don't piss me off. And she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. In her confessional, though, she starts talking about, the more normal I am, the more people like me, which I thought was interesting, right?
Yeah,
Because,
I thought that to myself too, like, "Hmm."
right. Then we see the female interrogator, Erin. She's interrogating Kody Brown. Um, and she's telling him he doesn't look the best. And she said, like, you're trying to stare me down. And he said, no. But you could see, like, he was having a very hard time, like, just even standing there,
Mhm.
which I thought was interesting, right?
Well, I think he has a strong opposition to anybody who's in, an authoritative position
'Cause
next to him.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think he kinda took that as a how he is about his manhood, like a threat
yeah,
to his man you know how he is.
yeah. So she starts asking him questions, and she asked if he has children, and he said yes. And she said, how many? And he said 18. And, they're watching him. They're like, he can't even look at her when he's talking to her. She said, "Well, how does that even happen?" And he said, "Nature," which is kind of
No,
a
not really.
smart ass,
Uh-huh.
you know? And like they said, he wasn't even trying to build a rapport, like, he didn't feel like he needed to explain it, right?
Right.
which in itself is just putting him in a vulnerable position. They do show us that before they did the last challenge, that they sat down with them and they told them what you need to do to survive in these interrogations. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
I was not very I didn't feel like it was very clear. Like, what is it that they wanted you to do? Like, they wanted you to try and befriend them, but not tell them you were like, what was the end goal?
I think
I was a little
I,
confused, like,
yeah,
when we get to it, we'll see that Andrew leaves, and I'm like, "Okay, but what is it that you wanted him to do?" Like, I was a little confused.
yeah, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So then the next one we see is that same female interrogator, Erin. She's now talking to Gia. And I thought she was very calm and very respectful,
Gia did
Gia.
very good. She did very
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Now it's day 9, 03:28. So it's an hour and a half later because they started at like 0200. So it's an hour and a half later. Meanwhile, the other interrogator is yelling at Andrew because he moved and he's like, "Did I say move?" And while at the same time Andrew's being interrogated, his wife Shawn is being interrogated. And again, I mean, I think it's like she said, she's used to not showing emotion.
Mhm. Yeah, so I figured she would do very well in this challenge.
And she really did. I think she really did do very well. I do. And, Andrew's a protector and his wife was there. I think that if she wasn't there, it would
He
have
would
been
have
a
done
different,
better, yes.
yeah, it would have been a different game for him. Right. So he, the male interrogator asked Shawn why she's there. And she said, well, she's an athlete. And, she said, my husband and I, we do family content. And he said, well, what's your husband's name? And he said, Andrew. And then he's like, why is there a bunch of sand in your backpack? And I think the fact that she came up with that right away, oh, well, in the like in America, this is something that we do, like for fitness. We, fill it up and work out with it.
Right, but why was there a bunch of
Because
sand
they
in your
had to
back?
be at 30 pounds, they were training. It was a military thing.
Oh,
So they
okay,
filled them
okay,
up with
okay.
sand. They filled them up with
Okay,
sand
I gotcha,
to
I
make
gotcha.
sure that they were at the 30-pound weight for training. And again, like, that was her quick on her feet because even I don't know if you remember, they asked Andrew why he's wearing what he's wearing, and he said, "Oh, these are my favorite pants," because he had on camouflage,
Mhm.
right? And I mean,
Yeah.
I think they asked Gia too. And she's like, "Yeah, I like this style. Like, this is the style I like." So, they had to be quick on their feet with coming up with some of these answers.
Answers, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I just woulda had this automatic instinct, especially to lie about if I had children. Just because if you
because
were
you don't wanna.
really
Right.
yeah, if you were really in that real situation, I think
Mhm,
I would lie, lie, lie. I don't even think I'd give my real name. I think I'd just lie, lie, lie. Just if that
mhm.
situation was kinda real. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. The interrogator asked Andrew what his name was, and he said Andrew, and then Andrew asked the interrogator what his name was. I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro?
Andrew, like,
Where are you
no."
yeah, no.
And then the interrogator said, "Well, do you have children?" And he said, "Yeah." He's, "Well, who's looking after them?" He said, "My mom." He said, "Well, why isn't the missus looking after them?" He's like, "Well, he's like, "Where is she?" "Oh, she's somewhere in the United States." "What?"
Again, I think he had that same thing in mind like I did, like, not to let but that's the thing, like, if you're gonna say something like that, you have to have that conversation beforehand and be like, "Okay," after you got that talk from the DSs about what to do if you get captured, a good thing would have been to meet up with your team and say, "Okay, look, this is the game plan. This is what we're gonna say. This is what we're gonna" you know?
Right. Right. Andrew says to his interrogator that he thinks that he's made a big mistake. And the interrogator says, "No, no, no, no. I said I'm just confused why I'm here." Like at this point, I feel like he's already lost. Then we hear that they've been held throughout the night. So I don't even know what time it is because last we knew it was 3:30 in the morning. And that the interrogation is going to even ramp up further from what they've been doing. So the interrogator asking them individually, like, why are you here in Morocco? And each team came up with a story. So the one team, Andrew and Gia and
Sean.
Shawn. No, not Shawn. Shawn wasn't on Andrew's team. Andrew, Gia, and Brianna.
Yeah, yeah.
They were there for soccer fields. They were building soccer fields. Cody no, Cody was with Brianna. Cody, Andrew, and Brianna were together. They
Yes.
were doing social media. Wait, who was
You having a
Gia?
brain fart there, Wendy?
I
It's a
am.
menopause brain fart. See,
Yeah,
people,
listen.
this is what happens to Real Housewives, like Real
Yes.
Housewives.
Yes. I mean, and I have extensive notes here and I still can't remember.
So I think it was Chicken Fry and Cody. I know Chicken Fry and Cody were together, right? Because I remember them, they got dumped, that stuff got dumped on their head because Brianna said he was
Yeah,
creepy.
creepy.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
Gia and Andrew were together, and Sean was not with Andrew. So Sean was with Cody and Brianna,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So then who was with Gia and Andrew? Brain isn't
That's what happens. Your brain stops working. And listen, we don't even need interrogation to make this happen. We just need everyday life to make it happen. But that was really good when Chicken Fry said that that Cody was creepy. I mean, good for TV, but not really good if you're in an interrogation. Like you're definitely giving them like a chink in your armor.
Yes.
You're giving them like a way in that, somewhere to make a crack bigger. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And it almost felt like Chicken Fry was kinda like trying to make a little too much conversation, like trying to make a little too much friends, by just
Right.
letting something so personal come into her conversation with an interrogator. And I think, like, they could have done a little bit better with the interrogation team, like, they could have been, like, a little rougher, a little meaner, a little more, you know? You could have
Yeah.
done, like, a little more to make them a little more intimidating, like, a little more like a real interrogation would be. Like, I
Yeah.
thought it was a little soft, but it's TV, so, you know, that's just how it goes.
I thought that I mean, I think that Gia did such a good job. She
She did
said
a
that she
great
was
job.
here to do the soccer fields, and they were like, "Well, who were you with?" And she said, "Well, there was this gentleman. His name was Andrew." That's all she gave up, just his
Yep,
first
yep,
name.
yep.
She's like, "I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure where he's at. I don't
Yeah, no,
know."
she was good. She was very
She
good.
was really good. And then when he said, "Why soccer?" She's like, "Well, I'm Italian, and that's very big in our culture." And he's like, "Well, what team do you like?" She's like, "Italy."
She
You
was
know what I
good. She
mean?
was really good.
I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
loved it.
"Oh my god, you're doing so good. You're so good." You know, Andrew, on the other hand, is like, "Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that are passionate about sports," and he keeps saying, "We came over here," and she keeps saying, "Well, who is we? Who
Right,
is we?"
right.
And she's like, "I just need you to give me a straight answer." Like,
Yeah,
and he's not. She's like, "You're married and you left your wife to come over here and do soccer fields with who? You don't know who you're here with? Like,
right, right,
that
right.
doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense."
Doesn't make any sense. Yep.
She's like, "I don't believe you." And now we find out that it's day 9 still, and it's 05:43 AM, and they're still going at it. And that's when the interrogator's asking Sean, like, why she's here, and she's like, I do influencing, travel vlogging." He said, like, "Were you in the wrong place?" She said, "I think maybe I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was only meant to be here for 3 days," which, again, I thought was really smart too. Like, at least
Yes.
she gave, like, something definitive, right?
Right, and, like, yeah, so I guess the point was you had to give answers that seemed plausible without giving out too much information.
Right, right.
So, like, the 3-day thing, the whole you know, you had to, like, embellish it
The 3-day,
enough,
right.
but not too much.
But I even think when he said, "Do you have children?" And she said, "Yeah, I have my 3 children." And he said, "Well, how old are they?" And she's like, 5, 3, and 1. He said, "Well, I hope you're getting paid a lot because these are some ages where your kids really need you." And she started crying, which
Mhm.
again really played into her being honest. She's like, "Well, I have bills to pay. We really need the money. Like, this is what I
Right.
have to do," which is believable, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think it's those kinda little things that are woven in there
Mhm.
that make it plausible.
Right.
But Cody was fuming, though, when they were getting on him. He was
Yeah, because
definitely
he just shut down.
yeah, He doesn't like to be questioned.
No.
No, not at
Yep.
all.
So then we the next time we get it's day 9, 06:12 hours, and 5 recruits remain. So this is where is this where they pulled out Andrew?
No, because
No. No,
remember
Andrew's still
we
there.
yeah, because
Andrew's
we
still there.
they
Okay,
bring
so
them they
that's why
bring
I'm
them
not.
out. Yeah, they
Yeah,
bring
there's
them
only
out and they do the dunk tank thing.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
And
why I'm trying to I can't figure
did
out
you
who the 6th
notice?
person is because there's only 5.
Because there's only 5. Did you notice when they were doing that whole dunking thing that they put, like, a noise overlay? They
No.
put, like yeah, when the people are when, the girls are getting dunked in the tank, you hear a noise, and it sounds almost like a screaming underwater noise.
I
And
didn't.
it was, it was a production thing. It was not they were not making any noise. I watched some interview that Sean and Gia did, and they said that the screaming noise during the dunking was not real. It was, like, an added thing from production. Because I noticed it right away when they were getting dunked, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, "They're not opening their mouths, like, why is there this, like, underwater screaming noise?"
Okay.
But they added it.
Alright, yeah, I did not notice that. So, now they're at the halfway point of the final phase, and, they're gonna stress test Kody and Brianna, and she called out the interrogator called out for Brianna for calling him creepy. So she
Mhm.
said, now they're gonna pour water on him, so he's standing there and they're pouring the water on him, and she's like,
And
"I
it was
looked at you."
dirty. It was
It was
dirty water.
gross.
It was
It was
gross, dirty
gross.
water. Yeah.
And she's yelling at her. She's like, "I looked on your Instagram, you didn't post anything. You're a liar." And she's like, "Well, no, no, we haven't posted yet." So then they're like, "Okay, well, we're gonna dump water on you now too." So she stood there while Kody watched, them dump the water on her. And they asked Kody, like, "Are you enjoying, watching a woman suffer? Because I think that's what you like." And he really didn't say anything, just
No,
stood there,
just stood there.
just staring them down. He just didn't say a word.
Mhm.
I was like, "This isn't good."
Yeah, so like I said, I was very confused, like, what is it that they wanted Andrew to do that they felt he had to leave? Like, what was it that you wanted him to do? Like, why did he say
I think well, let's get there because 'cause we're not there yet. So the next time we get is 07:43, which is 7:43 in the morning. There's 6 hours left to go of interrogation, and they're gonna be paired off against each other. The interrogator asks Andrew, "Who is that?" And he points to his wife.
Mhm,
N First, he doesn't answer. He just kinda stands there, and then she asks again, and he says, "That's my wife." And she said, "Why the F didn't you tell me this before?" And it's like that he didn't have the answer. He said, "I thought she had already left," right? "I thought she'd already left." He said, "Yeah, but you did say she was here, though." So I guess he didn't give them, like, consistent stories when it came to her.
okay, okay. So
And
that was the deal.
I think the other point was when the interrogator asked Andrew, "Who's that?" And he points to Gia, right? And he's like, "Well, I worked on the soccer field with her," right? I think that was good. But then when they put him to the true test and they make him do the dunking,
Mhm.
he didn't try and stop it. He just did it. He just allowed them to continue to push these women down. I think that they wanted him to step up and say no to them. I think that that's what they wanted him to do.
So to me,
To
that was
maybe
totally
sacrifice
confusing.
himself. To maybe sacrifice himself. Say,
Okay.
"You know what? Instead of dunking them, dunk me." Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I was just very confused because 'cause I'm looking at like, "Okay, what do you want the fucking guy to do? What do you want him to do?" Like, you know, on one hand, you say, "Oh, well, he really shouldn't talk back to them," or "Cody
Yeah,
shouldn't talk back to them," but then, now you want them to talk like, I don't know, it was confusing to me.
I don't know that they wanted him to talk back because the DS has said when he was doing that, like, he should have said something, and I think that the only thing he really could have said is he could have sacrificed himself
Okay.
for them,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Because
that makes sense, that makes sense now.
he didn't get dunked, they did, and he was the one doing the dunking,
Right.
right?
Okay. You know, that makes sense when I think about it that way. But before I was confused. I was like, "Okay, I don't think I did, but alright."
That's the only thing I can come up with is that they didn't like the way he performed in front of his wife and Gia, who had already kind of been strong about their, their convictions and their story, and those were the 2 that were getting punished, and he was doing the punishing along with them, and as one of their teammates, right? Like, if you're really in a military position,
Right, right.
like, you would think that the stronger the physically stronger person would try and put themselves up instead of I would think, I don't know.
No, 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 that makes sense to me because before I was like, "I don't know what's going on." But
Right.
now that totally makes sense.
Right, so then that's when they take Andrew away and they tell him he's done right after that challenge. He said that their exact words is, "You didn't apply the tactics and the training that was explained to him, and for that reason, he's failed the course." Again, I think he got very far in the course, and I was surprised that they didn't, like, tell him, like, "Great job, you did a great job," you know?
Right.
Because
Well,
when
they said that to Cody.
I know, they said that to Cody, right? I
Yeah,
thought, like, why would
me
you
too.
say
I
that
was like, "To that
why
turd."
would Right. Why would you say that to Cody and not say that to Andrew?
Mhm. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, "I don't know what's going on with that."
So now their recruits are being held in stress positions to increase the physical, and address, like, they're all dressed in, like, hoods again, and they're in a dark place, and there's, like, babies crying and just, like, annoying situation, and again, we don't know how long exactly this is going on.
Right, well, I saw on the interview with Gia and Sean that they
Okay.
said that they would make them sit, like, crisscross applesauce and, like, keep their arms up, and they had the hood on with the goggles and the ear
So they couldn't hear either.
so they could only hear what was on there, and they
So
said
it was
it
like
was
headphones.
headphones, sorry. See? Menopause brain. Menopause brain. These things. So, anyway, they had to listen to the crying baby noises. They said there was also, like, animals being tortured noises. And they said they had to sit there for, most of the time, they had to listen to that for a couple hours. And so they would have to listen to it for, like, an hour, and then I don't know if you noticed, when they were doing it, you saw some people were sitting and some people were standing.
Mhm.
So, every, like, hour or so, you said when you just felt like you couldn't hold your arms up anymore and you couldn't stay in the position that you were in anymore, they would tell you to get up, and then you had to, like, stand up for a couple minutes and stretch, and then they would put you right back down in that position. But you said that, they would only take them out and talk to them for, like, 15 minutes, but that was it. So most of the time, she said it was hours and hours and hours of the time that they had to sit and listen to the baby crying and animals being
Mhm.
tortured.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they said the girls were saying that by this time, after being up so long, she was like I was like, "The hell that" and she said there were points when she just kinda fell asleep, and she was on reality, and the guys were like, "Oh, so crying babies is now your sleeping noise?" And she's like, "Yeah, pretty much." But she said they were just so tired that after a while, you couldn't even hear it anymore. She
No,
was able to just block it out.
it's funny because that's what I was thinking, like, that's mentally, like, think that's what I would do, is just block it out, just put my head someplace else regardless of what's going on. Like,
Mhm.
once you
Just go
hear it
somewhere
over,
else. Yep.
just put yourself someplace else. I think that would be the only way to
To
get
get
through
through it.
s Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they bring them all outside and they take the hoods off, and this is when they realize that Andrew's no longer there because the whole time they were there, they didn't know that he was gone.
Mhm.
Then they have Gia and Brianna put sandbags over their heads, and they're holding sandbags over their heads, and they have Sean and Cody crouching over, holding the sandbags also, and they want Cody to talk because he didn't do anything for the interrogation. and he's still not talking. And these women are still there, like, being tortured because he won't engage and he won't talk.
Mhm.
So then they finally make him put his down and watch them. And they say to him, "You're watching them suffering and you're still not doing anything."
No, I don't, because basically, I don't think he really I think Cody's the kind of he only gives a shit about himself.
Well, I mean, I agree
And
with
I
you.
don't even know him. The only thing I know
Right.
about him is this show, and I got that, so
No, I totally
I
agree
don't
with
think
you.
that it's gonna bother him, you know what I mean? One way or
No,
another.
I don't think so
I
either.
think
So
he
then
had
they
small moments of kindness, like when he helped Gia with her pack and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, but I think when it came down to it, when it's him and somebody else, he'll always choose himself.
Mhm. I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. So then he's eliminated, and like I said, that the DS tells him that, he should be proud because he did a great job and he made it almost to the end, and I'm like, "Really?
Yeah,
No,
really?
I don't
I
think
know.
so."
Yeah.
Now it's day 9 and 11:01. So that's 11:01 AM, and there's 3 recruits left. It's the 3 women, Brianna, Sean, and Gia. And now they're gonna face the most final and terrifying part of the interrogation, being buried alive. Well, I don't really think that they were buried. I know they called it buried alive, but they just put the wood on top of them. They were not
Yeah, I
buried
mean, there
alive.
was you could see light coming through, and
Yeah,
I was thinking to myself, "You know what? After all this, I've been up for so many hours. You wanna lay me down in some nice cool mud and put
right,
that board over me with the sun
right,
off of me, and I don't have to look at you people screaming at me, and I could just lay here.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
it
I'm
sounds
okay."
good.
Right?
Sounds
Sounds
good,
good
yeah,
to me. That's how I was thinking. I was thinking, "Oh, okay. Bye."
right. So alls they need to do is stay silent. This challenge, alls they need to do is stay silent and never admit that they are military. Never admit that they're military. So they do this with all of them. G is like the last one, and then all of a sudden she sits up like she's like, "No, no, like don't put it down." And you could see she was terrified.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, she dug deep and she just did it. She just laid down and she did it.
Yeah, she was saying in her interview, she said, you know what? I was really scared, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am not up for another panic attack like the tunnels." She said, "But I was just so tired." I was just like she was kinda just like, "Fuck it." She just, like, laid back down.
Right, she just did it. She just
Yeah,
did
so
it.
she said exhaustion really helped her because she was just so tired that she's just like, "You know what? Whatever."
So then the next thing that happens is they keep opening and asking them again, "Are you military?" And then when there's only 10 minutes left, they ask Brianna again, and she says, "I lied. I'm here with special forces." I was like, "Oh, no."
I felt like that was part of the show.
I don't think it
I
was. I
think it was
really
part of the show.
No!
No, I do. I think it's part of the show.
So it's interesting, I was talking to my mom about this 'cause I got her to watch this show, and she said, "I don't know why that girl couldn't wait another 10 minutes." I said, "She didn't know it was another 10 minutes,
10
mom, like,
minutes,
she had no idea.
right,
She
how
didn't know if
long
it could
it's
be
gonna
another
be.
3 hours. She didn't know when this test was gonna be over. If she knew it was gonna be 10 more minutes, she could have waited."
Right, right, yeah, you're
She's
right,
like,
she didn't know it was gonna be 10
"I
minutes.
never thought of that." I think it was real.
You
I don't
do?
think it was I think it was real. I really think that they just kept and she's like, "Ugh, whatever. Yes, I lied." But again, if she knew it was 10 minutes, obviously she would have just
She
hung
would've
it,
held out.
Yeah, but there's no way she could have known because she didn't there was no light for them. They didn't know when this was gonna end.
Yeah,
They
right,
didn't have any idea of time or anything.
right.
They were
Yeah,
inside, outside, hoods on their heads,
hood's off,
they
they
didn't
could've
know.
been laying there for hours, right.
Right. And then they ask Sean Johnson again, and she's like, "Do you have anything to tell me?" And she's like, "No, nothing." Same goes for Gia, nothing. They keep asking her. They keep saying, "No, sir. No, sir." And then all of a sudden, they're like, "Okay, you two, let's get out." And I really thought that they were going to tell Sean that she failed. But when they said that they both passed, I was like, "Oh, that's good." I didn't know. Listen, I didn't know what the end game was. I didn't know.
Right, right.
It's not like a win or lose, it's like either
No,
you complete it or you
or you
don't.
don't, right,
So
absolutely.
everyone can complete it, obviously, but that by the nature of it, that's not really gonna happen. So
Right.
the fact that they both completed it, I thought was awesome. I thought it
I
was
thought it
awesome
was
that they both
really
did it.
badass because they were, like, the smallest, littlest things
Yep,
ended up to be, like, the 2 toughest.
yep.
Because 'Cause they're tiny. They're both really tiny girls,
They are both tiny. They are both
but
tiny.
they're both powerhouses, though. They're small but
Mhm.
mighty kind of a deal. And
Yes.
Gia was saying on the interview that, when they finally told them, "It's over, you passed," like, right before that, when they brought them out and took their hoods off, they were thinking to themselves, "Oh god, like, what's next?"
Right.
Never she said we were like, when they first said it, they were both kinda confused, like, "What?" Like, "Oh,"
Right,
'cause
they didn't know.
they didn't know, they were so tired, they both of them were thinking, "Fuck, what do we gotta do next?" And then when they said it, they were kinda like, "What?" Confused.
Yeah.
But they
And
both
then
did a really good job.
I'm so proud of both of them.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Gia said her and Sean are gonna be bonded for life, and I believe that they are gonna be
Oh,
bonded for
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah, I think they'll have a friendship. Well, you can't go through something like that with somebody and not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think that she's a good, strong role model for
For
Gia.
her, absolutely. Absolutely, and I think it was really good for Gia to see a normal, functioning, good relationship. That
Yes.
Sean and Andrew like, a really solid marriage, a solid relationship. I think that was awesome for her. At her age, her situation with Teresa aside, for any young girl, I think it's really good to be exposed to a relationship like that,
I agree. I
especially
agree.
especially at Gia's age. I think it's super formative, and I think that she can look back on that and really know for herself, this is what I want, like, and not settle for anything less because she's experienced what a really great relationship is.
Yeah.
That's
No,
great.
I agree, I totally agree with you. The only thing I wish for her sake is that they could have ended this the week before BravoCon because Gia was just in BravoCon all this past weekend, and it would have been so good for her to have all these accolades from everybody because they would have known that she would have been the one, you know? Like, she was there with her Uncle Joe and Melissa and her aunt, like, they were all getting along, and it was a good weekend for her. I just feel like if this information was out, it would have been even that much
Better.
better for her, you
Right.
know?
Right.
But I love this show, and I can't like I said, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be as good.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent on who they get, right?
Absolutely. I think it's all depending upon the cast of characters.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. So that's our recap for Special Forces. Anything
Mhm.
else you wanna talk about?
Nope. You
Okay.
got anything?
The only thing is it just came out today that Candy Burris from, Real Housewives of Atlanta, who just got the Lifetime Achievement Award at BravoCon, announced that she was divorcing her husband, Todd, of 11 years.
Oh, that's sad.
Sad. It is sad. She said that, it was a hard decision to make and they have 2 children together. They're gonna focus on co-parenting and, to give them their privacy. So, my thoughts go out to her and her family. Candy is an awesome housewife. She's another one who's a powerhouse businesswoman, entrepreneur. She's going for her EGOT. She's got a Grammy, a Tony, Emmys. What does she need? She may even have it. I'm not even sure. That's how powerful she is. So,
Right.
my thoughts and prayers are with her family.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. So, until next time, thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe and give us 5-star reviews. Bye.
Bye.